If you're new here, hit that subscribe button because I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers. And also tell me in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is there. And now just get comfortable wherever you are and enjoy the story from start to end. I'm from New Hampshire. Back in my early 20s, I lived about 30 minutes outside Manchester. I had just broken up with a girlfriend of 2 years. Life felt strange, like I was drifting, trying to figure things out without even knowing what I was looking for. My grandmother was deeply religious. After my grandfather passed, I started going to church with her every Sunday, partly to keep her company, partly because I needed something solid in my life. She never lost her faith. She told me Grandpa was finally with the Lord, and you could see the peace it gave her. I admired that kind of belief. One Sunday after the service, I noticed a girl I had never seen before. Our church was small, everyone knew everyone, so a new face stood out. She had dark curly hair and deep hazel eyes. I waited until it was over and went up to talk to her. The spark was instant. You know that feeling when you just click with someone right away. Her name was Kaylee. She had this quiet, mysterious charm. I asked about her family. Where she was from, she'd laugh and dodge, saying I'd have to take her out to earn those answers. I loved the playful back and forth. Eventually, she told me her family had just moved to the area. She was in college nearby. That explained why I'd never seen her. Over the next week, we texted a lot and swapped social media. Her Instagram had almost no followers. I liked that. She opened up a little. Her stepdad was a mean drunk. Her real dad was apparently worse. They'd moved to get away from him. She had to leave everything behind. Friends, old school, all of it. I didn't push for details. I was just glad she trusted me enough to tell me that much. The next Sunday, she was at church again. I took it as a sign and asked her out. She smiled and said yes. We kept the first date, simple movie, then food. It felt easy. She listened like she really cared. I didn't want the night to end, so after dinner, I suggested a drive. We took a quiet 2-lane road out of town. Trees on both sides, winding curves, no one around. Perfect. Then, out of nowhere, everything changed. She started speaking fast words I didn't understand. It sounded like French, but mumbled and angry. At first I thought she was messing with me. Then I saw her eyes. They rolled all the way back, just white showing. I swerved, almost hit the guardrail. My heart was pounding. It looked like a seizure or something. Worse, I pulled over, shaking, and called 911. I told them my date was having a seizure or something. I didn't know what to say. She kept muttering, head twitching. I was terrified to touch her. Then, just as fast as it started, it stopped. She snapped her head toward me, eyes normal again, and gave me this wild, wide-eyed stare I'll never forget. Before I could speak, she threw the door open and sprinted full speed into the woods. I mean full-on ran, like an animal, straight into the trees. I sat frozen, hands still on the wheel, trying to understand what just happened. Cops and paramedics showed up. I told them everything. They took it seriously, said they'd search for her. She was gone next Sunday, no Kaylee at church. Her Instagram vanished. Her number was disconnected. Even friends texting from different phones got nothing. I asked around church. No one had ever seen her before that first Sunday. I don't know what happened to her. I don't know if she was ever real the way I thought she was. I moved away years ago. Whenever I think of home that night is the first thing that comes back. My family has this beat-up 2012 Volvo that should have died years ago. It refuses to quit. Brakes feel soft. Engine acts up. Half the lights don't work. My parents are just waiting for it to finally give up so they can buy something new. Guess who gets stuck driving it? Me. The windshield wipers are completely DEAD. Even light rain turns the glass into a blur. You can't see a thing. Lucky for me, I live in Nevada, normally the driest state in America. Rain almost never happens. This was a couple summers ago. I had just finished a solo road trip to visit my old friend Kelvin a few states away. I love driving, so I turned it into an adventure. Just me, the open road, and miles of empty desert. The trip there and the stay were perfect. Lots of laughing, lots of drinks. The drive home started out the same. Then I crossed into Nevada, and the sky opened up, not a sprinkle. A full-on thunderstorm, lightning, wind sheets of rain. One of the heaviest storms the state had seen in years. With no wipers, any rain is dangerous. This was impossible. I pulled off the highway and drove a good distance into the desert, so no truck would smash into me if they couldn't see the car. I figured I'd wait it out, maybe sleep a little. Calling the police felt pointless. I was broke and didn't want a ticket on top of everything. Asking my 65-year-old parents to drive hours to rescue me? No way. So I sat alone in a thunderstorm, in the middle of the desert. For a full hour, not one single car passed. The rain never let up. After a while, the quiet and the dark started getting to me. I got this weird, heavy feeling like I needed to move the car right now. But I couldn't drive safely, so I stayed put. I kept checking every window. Nothing out there but rocks and sand. The sun was starting to set. Soon it would be pitch black. I don't scare easy, but desert stories stick with you. Then the rain finally slowed a little. I thought maybe I could get back on the road soon. The sun dropped. Everything went dark. I decided to try to sleep. Right as I closed my eyes, I saw flashes in the distance. Not lightning, bright, sharp bursts of white light moving fast, jumping around, getting closer. My hands started sweating. Something told me to get out now. I grabbed my phone, jumped out of the car, and ran to the nearest big rock formation. Rain was still falling, but I didn't care. I crouched low and peeked around the edge. 3 figures with flashlights were walking toward my car, beams swinging wild, like they were drunk or high. They circled the car, shining lights inside, looking for something or someone. Then one of them fired a gunshot into the air. I bit my lip so hard it bled. I stayed frozen. After a minute, I risked another look. Nothing. No lights. Pitch black. I waited. Then the lights came back, dancing around my car again like they were playing with me. I dialed 911 with shaking hands and whispered what was happening. The operator said help was on the way. It felt like forever. Finally, I saw red and blue lights far down the highway. The second those police lights flashed, the 3 figures turned and ran. They melted into the desert. By the time the officer reached me, they were long gone. He listened to my story without looking too surprised, which made it worse somehow. He waited out the rest of the storm with me. Instead of towing the car, I haven't taken a solo road trip since. A few months ago, my friend Carol and I were driving from Florida back to New Jersey. We had just spent a great weekend with friends who went to school down there. It was a fun time, but we had to get back to our lives. We planned to do the whole drive in one long push snacks music, just the 2 of us catching up on everything we hadn't talked about in ages. Looking back, we probably should have stayed one more night. I just really wanted to get home. We drove through the night and into the next morning. A few hours after sunrise, my back started to hurt from sitting so long. I told Carol we should pull over for a break, get gas, and maybe find something to eat before getting back on the road. We passed a few exits, then took one that promised a cute tourist town. For the life of me, I can't remember the real name. It was one of those places you'd expect to be lively, with signs pointing to shops and local history, but the second we pulled in, something felt wrong. The streets were empty. The buildings looked tired and worn down, not like a place meant for visitors. It's hard to explain, but you could feel something was off without knowing exactly what. You know how you sometimes drive through a quiet town where the signs are still up, but everything feels abandoned? That's what it was like, only stranger, because things weren't really abandoned, they just looked that way. It wasn't scary in a haunted way, but odd enough that it's stayed with me ever since. Our first stop was a convenience store. We had to drive a little before reaching the main part of town. We pulled in and grabbed some drinks. The 2 of us went inside. It looked normal enough. Carol was looking for a certain drink and got annoyed. When they didn't have it, she can be dramatic. So I went along with her and agreed to try another store. I still wanted my Gatorade, so I walked up to pay. The cashier was a woman, maybe 30 or 35. Tall, dark brown hair, very ordinary. I only remembered her because she wore suspenders, which I wasn't used to seeing. I paid and we left. Carol pointed to another store across the street, so we figured we'd try there. When we walked in, my stomach dropped. The cashier behind the counter looked exactly like the woman from the first store. Same hair, same face, same height, same everything. I stared too long. She stared back, confused. Finally, I asked, "Do you have a twin or a sister?" She gave me a strange look. "No, I'm an only child. Why?" She narrowed her eyes. That's a weird thing to ask. It was. I tried to explain, but she didn't say more. I felt a weird sense of deja vu and backed out, pulling Carol with me. Carol hadn't noticed anything and said I was probably just tired from driving. I knew what I saw and told her I'd prove it. We ran back to the first store. Different cashier, short light hair, middle-aged. No way anyone could mix her up with the other woman. She didn't even look the same age. It was like I had imagined the whole thing. Carol told me to drop it and that I was tired. I had no choice but to let it go. We needed gas anyway. We pulled into the first station we saw. It was completely empty, just our car, the pumps, and a small pay booth. We were the only ones there. We went inside. Carol looked for her drink again. I paid and waited. We were in there maybe 30 seconds. When we stepped out, the place was packed cars at every pump, more waiting in line, people everywhere, and every single person turned to stare at us, not friendly stares. Hard, cold stares. I've never felt so uncomfortable. This time, Carol agreed something strange was going on. We both felt the same creepy feeling, like we had stepped out of reality for a second and come back to something different. We said forget the food and just got back on the highway. I didn't have much appetite anymore. On the road, we didn't talk much at first. I had a bad feeling in my gut. I still can't explain. As we got farther away, Carol and I started talking about how weird it had been. We were loosening up when a Toyota Sienna passed us. Big spiderweb crack across the windshield, scratches down the side, hard to miss. Carol made a joke about it. 10 minutes later, the exact same minivan passed us. Again, same crack, same scratches. We were both 100% sure. We were driving straight and fast on the highway. There was no way it got ahead of us twice. The chance of seeing two different minivans with matching cracks was tiny. Carol started saying, "Oh my God," over and over. I could tell she was close to a panic attack. She told me to speed up. I did. I was falling apart inside, but had to stay calm as the driver and for Carol. All I wanted was to get back on the highway and leave that place behind forever. I glanced at the GPS. An hour had passed since the gas station, which was impossible. I didn't tell Carol. She couldn't handle more weird stuff. My heart was in my throat, but I just kept driving. Part of me worried the GPS would start taking us in circles. We finally got back on the highway, and the nightmare ended there. By the time we got home, hours later, it felt like waking from a strange, broken dream. I'm not kidding. That whole experience still feels like a dream when I think back. People look at me funny when I tell this story. I still can't explain what happened. I've tried searching online for strange things in places like that, and I found a few stories that sound similar. The weirdest part was the feeling in my gut. I still have trouble describing it. Until that day, I didn't really know what a bad vibe felt like. It's like every part of you is begging you to notice something is wrong. I never want to feel that again.